Alrighty. So, welcome everybody. In this session, I want to talk about the power of belief, right? This has been an ongoing topic, especially in our study group for meditations. Um, seeing the manifestation of your beliefs and whatever those beliefs may be, and being able to navigate through your belief structures so you can, get the highest quality experience that you can, and being able to even recognize what your beliefs are and how it brings things into your experience. This is a very intricate subject, and I want to look at this from a bunch of different perspectives. I would love to get lots of input from people. So as you're joining, feel free. We're going to do some Q&A. I'm going to be asking you to share some of your beliefs. Right? We have beliefs that work for us, even though those beliefs may not even be grounded in truth. Right? We have beliefs that um, may work against us, and those also might be grounded in truth. It's a really tricky subject, and I really want to get deep into this, and I really want to know what everybody else thinks about this topic. So feel free. What up, Goddess Ground? How are you doing? um so let me know your opinion. So once again, I'm going deep into belief structures and understanding how your belief structures manifest in your experience. What are some beliefs that have helped you? What are some beliefs that have hurt you? Like for me, it took me a very long time to, recognize my own astral, egoic arrogance, and to recognize that, maybe I don't know it all, right? And holding that belief, which many people do, you know, um, it creates all types of chaos in our experience. You know, there's ways to kind of step around it, but once I recognize, oh, I have this limiting belief, that at one time it did serve me, but also it began to cause all types of, chaos and stuff in my life as well. And I'm completely blind to it, and everybody has this. There's nobody out there that does not have this. So I really, really want to invite everybody to, look at your current belief structures. Which ones of them are helping you get to where you want to be, right? Which ones may be limiting you? Are you willing to take the steps to, really question your belief structures? Because one of the things about this is like everybody believes that everything they know to be true is true. Obviously, that's not realistic, right? But because we can look at the fact that everybody views their experience as being true, well, that puts you in a place of power, because obviously, if anything that you accept as a truth, you experience as a truth, that means you can change your truth. You can change your belief structure so they work for you instead of working against you. Wouldn't you want your beliefs to work for you instead of against you? And most of our belief structures come from learned behaviors and traumas. Some of them come from just our environment, from the people closest to us. We take on energy from other people, right? We take on ideology, we take on habits, we take on all these different things from our environment and the things and the people around us, right? So which ones work for you? Which ones do you want to work for you? Which ones are you willing to release and let go of? You know, there's tons of people out there, especially with all the stuff that's going on in society, that view the world as, this is such a horrible place. This is like the world is crashing down around us, and everything is just horrible, and then that's their belief. And because they have that belief, that's all they see. They accept that as their truth, and no matter what, they view life through that lens. So their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, their interactions, their friends, the news, their social media algorithm and stuff will reinforce their beliefs, whether they're true or not, right? So think about how powerful this is, because it could work in your favor. You can reprogram your beliefs, right? But if you're in a state of, what up, Natasha? How you doing? If you're in a state of belief that's not working for you, right? Then I think that it's time to, restructure what your beliefs are. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have beliefs that's not true. It's not real. And we go on living life in this delusion, and our ego will show us that this delusion is real, even though it's not. even though it's not. If any of your beliefs are grounded in fear, if it's grounded in anger, if it's grounded in any of the negative senses, then odds are it's not a real thing. And I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people, but this is the thing. What if I am queen? um, Let me know how y'all feel about this. Natasha, you're in here. You know, your belief structures right here and right now. Like, are you willing to, restructure your beliefs, to let go of some of your beliefs, so you can get the things that you want to get out of life, right? Like I said, especially all the political stuff that's going on. I just watched this clip. It was Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall from like 1992, and they were kind of having a debate because Eddie Murphy, he's like really spiritual and stuff, and he was saying how he doesn't vote. Why should I vote, right? And Arsenio Hall was like, well, you got to fight back. You got to put your vote in, right? And everybody believes what they believe, but Arsenio was saying, like, you got to vote. Why are you not voting? You have to. If you're not doing anything, then you're like a slave that's just going on and just singing and just allowing yourself to be enslaved. And Eddie Murphy's like, it doesn't matter. If you think that your vote is going to change, or that even the illusion of what's happening out there, that they even care, that politics isn't this, smoke and mirrors type of thing or whatever, and basically just let God handle it, right? So who's wrong? And I can see both perspectives in their realm and their belief structures, right? They're completely justified in their belief, and the way that they relate to what they're doing it's there, and they see the truth in it. And what each person's perspective holds, it holds weight, right? So it's not that this one is better than the other. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. It's still, what do you believe in? Because that's what your experience is going to be. It's all about, yes, it's all about perspective. What up, Makita? It says late night greetings. For sure. Self hypnosis. I choose what I want to believe. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. I believe everybody should do that. You know, but not everybody has that level of understanding. Because our beliefs are so powerful. Remember, the astral realm is a belief based thing. You will always get what you believe. Why would you get anything else? And we always get the thing, well, I believe I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, do you really? Right? Do you really? Like right here, right now, like, are you taking the steps to do it? Do you really have the beliefs that you're going to do it? Is your mind really focused on getting there? Right? So it's things that may stop you from getting there. We have belief structures that are deeply rooted, in our experience. Some people believe that they need to suffer. Some people believe that life is horrible and that this world is damned and that, everything is just burning around them and we gotta, fight the system and everything else, right? So for me, I suggest that write down your belief structures, the things that you're really emotionally invested into, and ask yourself, does this really serve me? This is always get what I believe. I like that. You do. You do. I'm gonna ask every single one of y'all right here, right now. And let me know how y'all feel about this. You know, everything that you believe to be true, you see it as being true, right? Everything. You see it in your reality. It manifests in your reality. Whether it's a delusion or not, it's very clear that everything that you believe to be true is not true. Everybody believes what they believe is true, and that's it, because you get what you believe. And the way it works on a spiritual level is resonance. You're in that realm. Mentally, the frequency of your mind, it's a realm. Your mental, right? And Tai Chi and Qigong is called your Yi, your mental intent. It literally puts you on a certain frequency. Now, all the other people, places, things, experiences, the karma that's on that realm, that's what you experience, right? Now, your belief structures is like, you can say the mind is the Wi-Fi, right? And your belief structures, we will say, is the program. Now, if your program is really crappy and filled with hate, guess what? You're gonna connect mentally to all the hateful channels and programs and demons and all the weird stuff that's out there, and that's what you're going to experience. Literally. And all the people who are in those realms, you're going to resonate with them. You're going to form bonds with them. They're going to be your friends. You're going to tune into the social media and the other platforms and stuff that just reinforce your beliefs, whether they're true or not, whatever it is. And that's how creation works. That's the algorithm of life. Whatever it is, your astral ego always wants to be right no matter what. No matter what. So, there's different levels of truth. It says our minds completely create our experience within this world. Um, yeah, I mean, but it's that's a simple way to put it, but it's even deeper than that. So, there's different levels to it. We got the mental, the astral, the physical aspects, and everything starts in the mental, right? So, yeah, it starts with the mind, the frequency of your mind, but your belief structures, um, you experience the stuff based off of your beliefs on a much deeper level because it's sticky. It's sticky. The astral is a very, very sticky substance. Your astral chi, when you actually tap into your chi, the astral fluids, it sticks to you. Literally. The example I always use is when you break up with a partner, right? And that partner says, you know what, I never want to see you again. You might be the one that says, I never want to see you again, right? And one of the people, it might have been you, is still calling the other person, showing up at their house. Oh my God, I still love you, right? Because love is an astral emotion. It's very, very strong. It sticks to you. And even though the other person says, I hate you, don't come around me anymore, I'm going to call the police or something, you probably still took your butt over there. Because it's really hard to see through your emotions, to see through your belief structures, to see through that astral substance. It's really hard to let go of it. Our emotions are very, very strong. That's why everything in society is meant to rile up your emotions so they can sell ads and to keep you blind to what's actually happening. That's what the Matrix is, belief structures. It's the matrix in which you will allow yourself to be bound to, you know, none of which is real. And, people go their whole life, bound to different concepts and doctrine and laws and delusions and everything else that's out there that's not real whatsoever. From books, from religion, from media, from the government, from school, from their parents, from their culture. It's so much stuff out there that's not grounded in truth whatsoever. I'm talking about textbooks, nonfiction books written by your favorite author and philosophers and everything else and scientists and filled with nothing but lies and delusions. And people live their whole life in those realms, you know? So the belief structures are very important to question always. Always question your beliefs. And, even if your emotions are strongly grounded in it, is it serving you? Is it really serving you? You know? It says how to change the intrusive thoughts when things are going well, and that's a very very good question. I'm going to answer that too. So while people are in here, feel free to tap the screen. Let's see how many more people we can get in here. I want to tap into this. I'm going to show you. We're going to do some energy exercises too, right? If we can get up to, let's say, 20,000 likes, and that's not hard. We can do that and very very quickly. We'll do the energy exercise, and this is one of the ways you begin to break out of your belief structures. How to expand your mind outside of your physical body, where you can look outside of yourself and start to activate the intuitive senses, your spirit senses. And, you start getting into expanded states of consciousness. So all the astral stickiness isn't stuck to your mind. So you can start to see past your own delusions. And then you can see all the other delusions that are around you as well. And it's very, very powerful. So feel free, if y'all want to do this, let me know in the comments. If this is your first time like rocking with me, hi, my name is RJ. I like to talk about all things metaphysical. I teach Hermetic alchemy, Hermetic magic, psychic development, Qigong, how to train your subconscious mind, your intuition, so it's always working for you, how to become your own teacher. And it's really, really beautiful. So, this is where we're going with this. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, drop them. If this is your first time with me, let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're from. I am in beautiful Southern California right now. Um, soon to be elsewhere. We're going to be traveling a lot, in the next coming year. I'm going to be in Mexico in January. We have a trip set up in Sri Lanka, and into April, going into May for Vesak, setting up some more workshops and stuff in Sedona as well. So yeah, so back to the belief structures, okay? Makita says, how do you change the intrusive thoughts when things aren't going well? So one of the greatest things is faith, right? We talk about belief structures. Now, your faith is something that has to be experienced firsthand to fully understand what faith is, right? Now, we have faith in all types of things. In a state of if you're in a state of anxiety or fear, right? Then you have faith in the negative forces, right? You have faith that something negative is going to happen. You literally have faith that this is going to happen. You're expecting it to happen, right? But if you, despite all circumstances and appearances, know that everything is happening for your greater good, right? Then you have faith in the positive forces. Says faith equals wishful thinking. It does not. That's a limited way to view that, and I usually don't don't shut people down like that, but that is a limited way of thinking. It is not wishful thinking. Faith is knowing without a shadow of a doubt that this is what's going to happen, having true faith in something, not blind faith. That's something different. Having faith is knowing without a shadow of a doubt, without, despite all appearances, that this is what's going to happen. It's not a blind thing and you're just hoping something is going to happen. People with little faith say that it's just wishful thinking because that's what they do. And people often, project their beliefs and stuff on other people, and their limited things. So like I woken up to my faith this year like that. I thought I didn't have faith, but I do. It's just in the negative. Yeah, like that's serious. Seriously, if people have so much faith in negativity that that's all they see. Everything comes out negative. Everything pessimistic. Everything is this dim, dark, road that's in front of them, and most of it is just habitual. Most of it is literally it's just a habit. They built up that muscle of seeing things in a negative light. But it's okay because that's good that you're able to see things in a negative light because that gives you the polarity and can aid in the impetus to see things in a brighter light. If you never see the negative of things, and you don't have a reason to see the bright side of things. That's why we go through the dark night of the soul and like all our traumas and stuff. But you have to be willing to release and let go of those things so you can move, beyond them. Once again, if you're living in a state of anxiety, a state of fear, state of faith in in the negative things, right? Then you're aligning yourself. That's what you believe is going to happen. You always get what you believe. And a lot of people, because they don't fully understand it, they subconsciously align themselves to the negative stuff because they have so much faith in the negative. And your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, right? This is what gives you your karma. If you are taking actions to reaffirm the negative outcomes, guess what? You get what you prepare for. Always. If you prepare for doom and gloom, if you prepare for the rainy days, guess what? You're getting the rainy days. I had a conversation, yesterday. We were talking about money. You should save your money. But if you're saving up to invest, that's completely different. If you're saving up to buy a house, if you're saving up to build something, by all means do it. If you're saving up for a rainy day, guess what? That rainy day is sure to come because everything in you is preparing for it. You're going to cause a self-fulfilling prophecy. Most of what we experience in our life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Magic is placebo. All the different psychological tricks and stuff in order to align you within the field of consciousness, mentally, astrally, physically, is okay. These are rituals and spells and different ways to align yourself to your own actions, your own self-fulfilling prophecies. Now, it can get really, really profound, and when you start working with the Akasha, it can even get to the point where it's completely mystical and unexplainable. Still, placebo. The spiritual realms of your subconscious mind. 100% of it is. It's the literal same thing. Now, You know, that gives you a little bit of perspective on it. That's why I teach psychic development, right? Because if you are clairvoyant, you can see all the you know, you can see all the spirits and consciousnesses of your subconscious mind that tell you this and tell you that and that guide you and everything else. Most people can't see it. You can understand the spiritual aspects. But you can feel it. Everybody can feel it. Nobody's blocked from their ability to feel. Your gut feeling is a literal psychic ability, and because the collective consciousness said that it's okay to feel, there's nobody out there that's blocked from it. Some people may be overly grounded and talk themselves into not believing or trusting in their intuition, but everybody has it. Everybody has it. Um, so this guy sounds like schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is there's so many scientific terms and diagnoses for things that they just want to put you on substances to dismiss it. Schizophrenics can see into the spiritual realm. I had a best friend that was schizophrenic. I'm psychic. I can see spirits and stuff everywhere. I've been seeing ghosts and UFOs and aliens and fireballs in the sky and stuff like that since I was little. Literally. And it says it's a superpower. It's not a superpower. They have holes in their aura, whether it's from chemical imbalances, whether it's from substances, whether it's from an accident. It's not a superpower, but they're looking into the spiritual realms. They don't have a way to block what most people subconsciously block, you know. But there's levels to it. It says never violate intuition. What a mama T808. Yeah, you'll listen, your intuition is your divine guidance. That's what your intuition is. And once again, your belief structures. What do you believe? What do you believe? Do you believe in once again outside forces? What do you have faith in? Do you have faith in the negative forces? Or are you one of the people that literally put all your faith and idolize negativity? Because a lot of y'all do. A lot of y'all, your God is the government. It's the demons. Literally, it's all the succubi, incubi. It's all the corn spirits. Y'all know what I mean. It's all the gossip spirits and stuff. That's y'all God. We can create heaven and hell. Exactly. It's all your belief structures. But people don't understand when they put themselves in a hell realm and they're literally walking around feeling like life is so hard and so horrible, whatever. It's a mind state. You're in that realm. You can get out of it, but if you believe, it's all your belief base. What is your belief? Now, once again, your beliefs can liberate you or they can limit you, but you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of what your beliefs are, and there's a vibrational scale within that. The when it comes to liberating your mind, right? The least liberating thing that you can do is be a slave to something, whether it's a substance, whether it's a religion, whether it is a doctrine, whether it is a habit of any kind. Coffee, video games, substances, people, it's all types of things that you can literally be a slave to, and that's the least liberating thing that you could possibly engage in. Um, and it's important to see that. If you have a very strong addiction to anything, you might want to look at that because anytime that addiction says feed me, you feed it. You're a slave to it. There's no free will in that. You know, to go up the vibrational scale and in belief and spiritual liberation, right? We're going into the realms of actual doctrine and religions and spiritual systems and stuff. And this is just barely above addictions. Any type of school, tradition, culture, teaching that tells you to put the blinders on and not to use your spirit and use your intuition and to be able to freely explore different concepts and ideas and philosophies. They're trying to keep you in a box. They're trying to literally control the flow of information, no more than what the government is. And that's just slightly above being a slave to something and having addictions, just slightly, so no matter what it is, if they're telling you you're not free to follow your intuition and to follow your spirit and to use your mind, your spirit, then they're trying to literally keep you in a box and control you. And once again, that's just barely above the realms of addictions. Now, a little bit above that, we're going to go into the realms of science, right? Now, yeah, slavery, mental slavery is the most prevalent type of slavery there is. And especially, people talk about the system and the government and stuff like that, and everybody's fighting each other and picketing and stuff like that, and mental slavery. If you're heavily emotionally involved in something, and for me, I've been into politics. I've been into, freedom fighting. I've been into running the streets and gang banging, and that you're not making a change if they're not trying to silence you. I'm telling you that right now. If you are not labeled as a, like literally, if you're not labeled as public enemy number one, I'm not even sure I can use some of the other words I want to use because I don't want to get blocked here on TikTok. But if they are not literally trying to shut you down and shut you up, then you are not a threat. No matter how much you march and picket and throw up signs, literally, it does not matter. If you think that anything you see on the television regarding the government and their systems in which they have to pit you against each other, if any of that is actually real, then you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You think that in the nation, the strongest nation on the planet, right? That they care about anything that you say whatsoever. And that you really, you said you're just a part of the program. Yeah. But when you actually start doing something that threatens the people in power, you'll know because you'll know. Just want to put that out there. I'm not even going too deep in that, and I only know that because I was really heavily into politics. I got friends as politicians. I've shot all types of political campaigns on the local level, on a large level, and everything else. And look, the game is dirty, and on both sides, you'll see them arguing with each other, and then they'll go and play golf with each other. Literally, they don't care. It's all smoke and mirrors. If you think that the people they show you and everything else care about what you think, it's so funny. I had my haircut here in Lancaster for the first time. So in the 3 years I've lived here, and the barber was so cool, and like I said, I used to really be down for politics and stuff too. Like, they'll let you sit at the table, they'll let you sit in the boardroom, in the court, they'll let you sit in Congress and the Senate and everything else, and literally they're just going to be like, yeah, we'll let them talk. Don't listen to nothing that they say. They do not care. They do not care whatsoever. It's an agenda. Even with the government shutdown, you don't think they all plan this? Do you really think? Do you really think that, it's two different sides of the same coin? Do you think the whole coin really cares about what you think? You know, Even the fact that it's a corporation, which is owned by the crown. It's a corporation, in the same way that, any other corporation will have a CEO. And when that CEO does something wrong in the world's eyes, they'll just get another one. Corporation's still there. All the stockholders and everybody else who's invested in, they're still there. And they're still going to get their profits no matter what. No matter who's at that table, it's still going to go on, So oligarchy. But we're not going we're not going to talk about that. It's the United Corporation of America. Yeah. So one of the biggest things, so belief structures, right? Um, Before I get in this, once again, my name is RJ. I like to talk about all things spiritual. Right now, we're going down into the dualistic realms and, exploring belief structures, right? And, when it comes to belief structures and the system, once again, I grew up running the streets, gang banging and stuff. After that, I went deeply into politics and community organizations and making change and everything else. I'm from a town where they had Klan meetings and Klan rallies and stuff in downtown when I was a kid. You see them all the time. I got friends that are, children of Klansmen and stuff with all the Confederate flags and stuff. In Indiana, you ain't even from the South, you know, you know. But growing up in that environment, being able to see how much pandering goes on, just to make people feel like they have a voice. And I mean that. They make you feel like you have a voice. For my people of color out there, most of the organizations that are part of the United States government that have been around for 100 plus years, 50 years, 60 years, NAACP, all that stuff, none of them are for you. They weren't created for you. They're literally meant to take away your power. The Democrats, Republicans, all of them. Democrats were started by the KKK. They still the KKK. Literally. And I want you to fight me on this. I dare anybody to come and debate me on this. Let me know any of them whatsoever that has your best interest at heart, other than to get you to vote for them and to sit your ass down as as you just hand in your vote and they make you feel special. Literally, and you can look this up. Look at the NAACP and WEB Du Bois. And who he was raised by, and if he was really if he didn't even like poor people. Literally, he didn't. You know, we have all these organizations and stuff out there that's meant to take away your voice and masquerade as if they actually have something, that's in your favor, just to make you, shut up. Oh, let's take away that threat. Let's make them feel good about it. Now the Republicans have our best interests at heart. So what's crazy? So to a degree, I think that because I'm not either. I'm gonna let y'all know very, very clear. But from seeing both sides, you know, he says, I've been digging into his writings, changing my entire perspective on politics. Yeah, I said none of them do. It's an agenda. Yeah, it's an agenda. I mean, but there's also local level and like, federal level. Like local level or whatever, they don't really matter to a degree, not on a grand scale, but the local politics matter more to your personal life than the federal politics. And people don't really get that. People will show up for the federal stuff. Your local stuff, that affects you every single day. These are the people in your community. These are literally the people in your community. That stuff affects you like immediately. And for that, you have a better voice in. But even then, only to a certain degree, because most of them are Freemasons. That's why it's a Masonic temple in every single town, and they don't care about you. They have their own agenda, and they're also with the. No, you can make some change on that level. On federal level, you ain't got a snowball's chance in hell. You know. So this is a really interesting subject. But once again, if you believe that rioting and picketing and marching and stuff like that, if you believe it's gonna make a change, then that's your belief, and you'll be out there doing it. And ain't nothing gonna come from it. They just gonna put you on the news, and then they gonna send somebody from the other side, gonna send some people there to start fighting and tearing stuff up, and then they gonna blame it on you and your people, because that's how it works. Listen, politics is dirty. Like, it's dirty. This is why I never got into politics. Like, I got friends as politicians. Like, especially in my hometown, I'm from South Bend, Indiana. You can ask anybody. I'm a local celebrity when I was there. Like, it's so many people. Oh, you should run for mayor. You should run for city council. I know. Nah, because I've been in cuss somebody out, choke somebody. No, I'm not doing it. You know, like, not at all. Because the game is like, it's dirty. It's really, really dirty. Like, all the stuff you see on the news is planned. Like, all the stuff is planned. You know, on both sides. It's literally smokes and smoke and mirrors. Somebody's, oh, we have a peaceful protest, and then the other side will send their people up to destroy stuff, no matter what side it is. And they both do it. Articles, social media influencers, and stuff like that. Like, literally, when I was doing political campaigns, especially when it comes to the internet and news forums and stuff like that, the stuff that you read on Reddit, like, literally, they pay people, like hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people, to write articles, to leave comments on everything, to sway people's opinion. So most of what's out there is not real. And it's weird. Like, it's literally weird. And then the crazy thing is, once again, your belief structures. If you believe in one thing, you're no matter what's presented to you, whatever is in favor of your belief, that's what you're going to go with. And most people don't see that, and it's all just to keep you divided. It's all just to keep everybody divided. So, don't have any real change. If the things that you do right now you think is really going to change in the systems that they set up, then you're fooling yourself. Nobody's going to be like, oh, here, take away my power. You know, cognitive dissonance is hard to overcome. Yeah. Yeah. But some people, mental slaves, and whatever your beliefs are grounded in, especially if it's grounded in like deeply in like emotions, that's how they get you. They play off your emotions, and that's how the system been working. Why you think so many celebrities and stuff, and even the politicians becoming celebrities and then everything, and it's weird. And the same psychology they use for ads, and they already, they say at the Coliseum in Rome, whenever people got mad at the government, guess what? They put a man in there with a lion or two men fighting, and everybody came and forgot about everything that was going on in the government. And now they show it on television, nonstop. All the basketball, football, and everything else, and make it this major spectacle and idolize all the players and everything else. And it's people that know more about their favorite basketball team than they do about their own body and their own family, right? Their own culture and they're everything else. They know every statistic in the world and then idolize these people and systems and things like that, and it's interesting and it's weird. Said don't get them bread, give them entertainment. Yeah, but politics is entertainment. People like to debate. People like to debate. So, and keep people, emotionally grounded in one way or another. But it's all smoke and mirrors. I've been in so many places, especially when I said back home. I had a radio show, all types of stuff, and I used to host events. I used to do hip hop shows and community charity events and everything else, and I used to go to all my friends' events and everything, and like weekly and stuff would happen and the news people will be there for 3 minutes and leave and they got a whole 5 minute segment on something that they were only 3 minutes there to see and just made up everything else. They literally pull up, got their footage and rode off and then just put whatever the hell they want to say about it. And I've seen that over and over and over and over and over again, and most of it's not true. I have my buddy Stefan. My buddy Stefan. Now Stefan, he in the streets. And Stefan went to jail. And this is a while ago. Stefan went to jail, and he was in jail for like 3 months. He got out of jail, and like the weekend he got out of jail, he was like riding down the street and like going to go see his girlfriend or something. And as he's riding down the street, the police were heading somewhere else, and as they're speeding down Cleveland Road, they run into Stefan, flipped his car over into a ditch. The news people came, and on the news, they said Stephen Tinsley was running for the police, and they found drugs and a gun next to his car, and he crashed his car and everything. When the police literally ran into him, pushed his car off in the ditch, but in the news, they said a completely different thing. I talked to Stephen the very next day, and he's at home. The very next day, at home. But you look at the news, oh, this is a whole different story. It's smoke and mirrors. It's this how can we get people's emotions, you know, um, tied to these different things? How can we sway the public opinion? How can we, present something? It's a story. And even if you look up, CNN and Fox News got sued because of all the fake stuff that they would report. And, you can look this up too. They are legally classified as satire because nothing that they say is true is satire. And they said that anybody that believes anything that comes on to our station, then they're a fool. In court, it's smoke and mirrors. It's not real. But if you believe it to be real, then everything in your reality, your ego likes to be right. Your belief structures are very, very strong. And if you believe that, then you're going to see it everywhere you go. And I mean that, like whatever it is. So once again, question your beliefs. So, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to work in radio? Pardon the deviation in the subject. develop your personality and your speaking voice. And broadcasting, depending on what it is, you gotta know people. You have to be a really good personality. Like for me, I did music, when I was there, and then um, we did a lot of like local music and stuff as well. Uh, and I was a real big part of the local music scene too. So I got like the easy ride there. 'Cause I knew everybody in the radio and all the radio stations and everything. So yeah, so I love how lighthearted you are. You gotta be. Listen. So this is I'm going to deviate from what I was just talking about. Being lighthearted. So one of the things when it comes to your spiritual development and your light bodies and things like that, once again, every belief that you have, every strong emotional attachment that you have, these are all astral things, your astral chi, your astral body, right? Is what most people will liken to your soul, right? It contains your belief structures, your attachments, your emotions, your labeling system is all astral, and your astral stuff sticks to the light of your spirit. Everything that you've ever experienced is the light of your spirit. You've never perceived anything outside of yourself. The way that you perceive stuff, we have, senses, and you've only perceived your spirit and your brain's interpretation of what is. You've never perceived anything outside of that. Never, ever. Our brain is very powerful, but it's also very efficient and lazy. Literally, it's there's so many different videos and stuff you can look on YouTube. Oh, this is how we trick the brain, and they'll show you something and look completely different than what it really is. And the most of our life is that. Literally, even from the textures and stuff that we see around us, from the colors, the people, the situations that we have, our brain is very, 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 very lazy. Powerful, but lazy, and people are like that. I know a lot of really, really smart people that's very, very lazy and want a free ride. That's your brain do the same thing, so you've never perceived anything outside of that. You know, um, if you're a high level mystic, and I know many of you are, and that's why you're here, even though I ain't even got on the mystical stuff yet. I know a lot of y'all have seen all types of ghosts and spirits and then connect to your deities and magical practices and everything else, or you wouldn't be here, right? And so, the stuff that's stuck to the light of your mind, this is what you experience. Now, for those of y'all that run into different deities and stuff that just pop up on you, a lot of people will have Egyptian deities kind of pop up on them, or Greek or Roman deities and stuff. Like, oh, I'm really connected to so and so because I keep seeing them everywhere, and Isis comes around and everything else. So, what made me think about this is sources. I love how lighthearted you are. you know Outside of your belief structures and your intuitive guidance, that light of your mind is going to navigate you through it anyway. You know what's good for you, what's not good for you. Just trying to get those likes up. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that too in a second. you know um This is such a fun chat to interact with. Yeah, as you're navigating your beliefs and your labeling and your emotional attachments, we have all this light that's trying to guide us. It's our intuitive guidance, the light of your mind, your light bodies is that. And for some of you like mystics out there, once again, you'll have different literal deities and stuff pop up on you. I remember one experience I had Mayat pop up on me and my partner, and I got literally taught the meaning of the weighing of the heart ceremony. Your heart has to be lighter than a feather. But most people, because of their belief structures, they have all this weight holding them down that pulls them into literal hell realms. That's what that story is, the weighing of the heart ceremony with Anubis and and Mayat and everyone. Is literally the more that your beliefs are grounded in delusion and just all these different things, the more you go lower and lower into the underworld, the literal hell realms. But the more you can see through it, the less that you attach to different things. It puts you in a type of heaven realm where you begin to see through all the delusions and all the BS that so many people subscribe to. And like I said, reality is nothing like you've ever been taught, not even remotely close. But if you believe it to be one way, well, that's what you get. Most of the people were literally taught by the government. Why would they teach you how to liberate yourself and how to transcend different realms and what reality really is? They want to keep you in their system so you can begin to, well, continue to manifest their system, their things. Everything wants you to manifest their reality. Everything outside of the light of your mind. The light of your mind is your internal guidance, your intuition. Literally your intuition, the etymology. This is why I love phonetics. Coming from the Phoenicians, right, and understanding etymology and where our words come from. I share this all the time. Intuition. Any word that starts with I-N, A-N, E-N means from within, right? From within. Tuition literally means to learn from above. The word intuition means to learn from within and above. It is your connection to your higher mind, to the God within you, your direct connection to your own divinity. So if you're listening to anything outside of that, then you're creating and manifesting these realities that are not yours and not real. Literally. And this is the game, to purify your belief structures, purify your chi, and the more you begin to purify your chi, the more you begin to raise into higher realms of existence. If you're strongly emotionally bound to something, then you're going to create more hell for yourself. That weighing at the heart ceremony, your heart's going to be really heavy because you're holding on and manifesting these false realities. And the more you're emotionally invested into it, the more you see it, the more you're attached to it, the more you begin to resonate with other people that are attached to it and all the negativity and weird stuff that comes along with it. And it's strong. And this is how our reality manifests. So your belief structures could, once again, they can liberate you or they can limit you. But always be willing to look at them and to change them. And thank you for the rose, Petrus Divine. And let me know what y'all think about this. So we're over 10K. We're talking about belief structures, and a big part of what I teach is qigong and how to liberate yourself from your belief structures, um, how to expand your consciousness outside of your physical body chemistry, how to wake up your intuition and your spirit senses. The only way that you can fully understand the higher principles of creation is if you're touching them. You cannot intellectually make sense of it at all. There's no book, there's no guru, no master, there's nothing out there whatsoever that can, give you that outside of yourself and through direct experience. Spiritual knowledge is the domain of the spirit. Now, there's people out there that like to debate and read a lot of books and try to go into the intellectual aspect of spirituality. And these people are oftentimes the most ignorant about what they talk about. And I mean that. I mean completely just spewing stuff that they know nothing whatsoever about, just on the intellectual level. There's a saying that the philosopher couldn't even fathom, could not fathom the experiences of the sages, even though the philosopher has read every book on spiritual subjects and everything else, but the sage has direct experience of those topics, of those things. It's the only way you can fully understand it. So everything I teach, and yes, I teach qigong. You know, everything I teach. Well, how do you have direct access to that? Because to understand the formless aspects of creation, your mind has to touch the formless aspects of creation. And because you get what you believe in, the system is perfect. The creator made it very, very perfect because whatever level you're at, that spiritual knowledge is going to mean something to you as you grow and evolve and ascend. That same proverb, same psalm, same saying, right? Same life lesson, same universal knowledge. It's universal. So it's going to mean something to you. But as you grow, that meaning is going to change and you're going to see a higher level of it. Your truth changes, your reality changes. And some of you guys are literally in hell realms. The world you are in is very dark and gloomy and heavy, right? And other people that live right next door to you, like I said, I love how lighthearted you are. My heart is very light. I am not even remotely close to a hell realm. My life, my experience, the realms that I dwell in, even within the physical, are very, very beautiful and very, very, easy. And I'm really blessed to be able to share, this knowledge and wisdom and the ability to help people ascend into the higher realms, and to understand how it works. you know. Um, Looking at some of these comments, y'all got any questions? Let me know because we can go super duper deep into this. And like I said, I got all types of practices and methods and everything else to help you get to where you want to be. I teach a course. Check out the link in my bio. I have a course. And it's a year long subscription. We have an app. There's hundreds of different videos in there. It's very very powerful. Level one is mastering the elements. How do you develop equanimity? How do you develop your relationship to air, fire, water, earth, and akasha, so you can understand how they manifest through your instinctual nature, just a part of who and what we are, so you can bring them into balance and understand the psychology behind it. Level two is psychic development. How do you train your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, right? How do you train your mental transference, your ability to put your mind, your spirit, in a specific frequency, in a specific place, a planetary spirit, anywhere throughout space and time, in order for you to vibrationally match it and to transcend it, and it gets really, really deep. And there's the Master Key library, the Magical Path of Power. We got all these different classes and courses and stuff that's included with the offering. And right now it's like 65% off. So if you're interested, you can check out the link in my bio for that. Like I said, we got an app. There's literally like hundreds of videos. I do weekly group Zoom meetings on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Pretty much every Saturday. So you get unlimited access to that for the whole year, and it is very very beautiful. And like all things in life, you get what you put in. The people who are very very dedicated to it, you can get to the point where you become your own teacher and then and enter into the akasha, touch light, talk to God. And when you get to that point, then you have a friend. You don't have a teacher, and we can practice together. But if you're not fully committed, your life is still going to get better if you just however far you want to take it. Your quality of life will change dramatically, pretty quickly if you're really dedicated to it. And it is very, very beautiful. So if you're interested, you can check out the link in my bio for that. um, and understanding the different realms, understanding your belief structures, understanding your own psychology and the light of your mind and what's sticking to it. Once you can release that, that's what spiritual growth is releasing what's keeping you into the lower realms, because the essence of your spirit is a vibrational match to the universal mind. It is a literal vibrational match to God. And I don't like using the word God because everybody has a subconscious belief of what that is, right? But the essence of that is you. It is you. Only thing that's keeping you away from that is your belief structures and your emotional attachments, the things that we hold near and dear to us. Nirvana is the release of attachments, aversions, and delusions. And the more that you develop a pathway to release those things, the easier your life becomes, the higher quality of life you begin to have, the more you begin to understand universal knowledge. But if you're strongly emotionally invested into all these different things, then once again, you're going to be manifesting those realities and those things that you're really deeply emotionally invested into. And, that takes us away from our divine connection. And everything I teach is, well, how do you train your intuition so it's always working for you? And it's a beautiful thing, and it's really magical. It's literally magic. It's hermetic magic, hermetic alchemy. And anybody that's interested, once again, check out the link in the bio. You can sign up for that. You get a copy of my book, Alchemy of a Happy Life, as well. And it's really, really beautiful. So looking at some of these comments, and once again, hi, my name is RJ. If this is your first time with me, I hope you hit the follow button. Feel free to drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Right now, I am in very beautiful Southern California. I went down to Pasadena yesterday. It was 90 degrees out there. And I live in the desert. It was warmer down there than what it is here. So that was cool. But like I said, let me know. Drop a one in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Drop questions. Source says amazing. How can I learn qigong from you? If you don't follow me, follow me. If you want to sign up for the course, sign up for the course. I'm adding lots of videos to the specific qigong libraries because there's different levels to it. It's mental, astral, physical. You know, aspects to it. You got to develop your yi, your mental intent. We're working with, your vital life force, chi, transforming that chi, and it's very, very powerful. And there's different types of qigong too, and I teach it for ascension. There's medical qigong, which you see all the old people doing, but this is qigong to train your spirit, to develop mental, spiritual strength to, aid you in your ascension, and it's very, very, very powerful. And then anybody that's interested in signing up for the course, there's a yearly option, which is the best deal, especially since it's 65% off right now for today. And there's a monthly option as well. So if you sign up, you get an email with like all the links to the Discord and to the book and to everything else. So that's through the link in my bio. All right, so back on subject. Also, when we get up to 20,000 likes, it should be higher, but 20,000 likes, we'll do the energy exercise, and we'll go through the steps on how to develop your energy and how to get the mind outside of the body. And we'll go through the four bases of supernatural power as well. Very, very powerful practice. You do this one practice, I promise you, it will change your life if you get it right. You just keep practicing it. Go out in nature and do it. I promise you, you will not regret it. All right, so go into some of these comments and feel free, drop some more questions. Let me see. It says, could ayahuasca get us there? Nope, it can't. It will not get you there. Don't fall into that trap. Most of the people out there that promote the plant medicines and stuff like that, they're not shamans or dealers. And if you tell them, oh, I want to do it, 8 times this year, they'll let you do it because they're not shamans, they're dealers. Even the ones that live in Costa Rica and everything else, they're dealers. They are literally, that's what they are, and some people become slaves to it. Um, I don't know if Mary is still in here. I met this woman in Sedona, and a couple days ago she was live and she was talking about people who get into those types of medicines and substances and stuff. That, her view of it is, some people become the children of the spirits of those medicines and stuff, and I don't see it that way. Well, you could say, yeah, the children of them, then they become the slave of it. They become slaves to it, to an addiction, to any spirit that's not your own, you're a slave to. Any of it, deities and all. If you don't understand that relationship between you and what it is that you're tapping into and working with, then you can easily become a slave to it. But I like that psychology. I've never heard it that way, and that's why I'm talking about it. Not that I'm like really against it or anything, but I definitely do not subscribe to it or believe in it. Let me plug my MacBook up before I just disappear on y'all. um, it says, I think I know, but I wanted to hear your take on it. It says, how do you let go of attachment? So once again, nirvana is the release of attachments, aversions, and delusions. Now, release is the foundation of every spiritual system, every religion, and everything else. They all have different rituals and different processes to release. Some of them are very powerful and grounded in more universal truth. Some of them are powerful and grounded in delusions and control and everything else. But release is the primary function. People go and are drawn to these different systems as a way to release their attachments to different things. Some of the lower levels, if you're like in the streets and gang banging and then everything else, and you just out here bad. The street preachers that's yelling at people, telling you can go to hell if you don't give your life to Jesus, and then everything else. That serves people. That may be your way to release some of the things that you're attached to and habits and stuff. The higher levels is okay, well, how do you train your spirit? How do you understand the universal nature of reality in order to raise up into a higher level of truth, into literal higher realms of existence? And this is in the physical. You live in higher realms. Some people live in really low realms. you know um I had a friend who just like went through some crazy stuff today, and he's most definitely trapped into some lower realms, and it broke my heart, to hear about what happened. But he most definitely in the hell realms for real. Um, and not being able to release and let go of some of those things, it creates your reality. So there's different ways. For me, I teach primarily through alchemy, through hermetic alchemy, and how to develop your awareness of your energy, how to use that energy, and literally, you can go into your astral body, your literal soul. You can purify it. And develop different ways to release. Now one way to release is just contemplation. You can contemplate the things that you're going through, and the more that you begin to understand it, the easier it is for you to take your emotional attachments and alchemize it into a mental construct. And it's much easier to let go of things that are mental constructs and something that you are emotionally invested into. But energetically, literally, you can vital breathe into your emotional attachments, right? You can astral breathe, slow that energy down, and go into your astral body. Now, from there, you can demagnetize your astral attachments and belief structures and traumas, and remove it out of your body. But that may not be a good thing, because if you completely release on something that, say you have a trauma from childhood and your parents abused you, and you completely just remove that energy from out of your field of consciousness completely, well, that may be the reason that you want to be a good parent. And if you completely remove that energy from your field of consciousness, you're going to lose your motivation to be a good parent, and that happens. But you can take that energy and you can raise it up through your crown and to your higher light bodies and allow your light bodies to manage those energies. And that's a much more efficient way to do it. And you'll have much higher outcomes. You know, um, Other ways to alchemize and to release, there's all types of different modalities. Most of what's out there spiritually and even in, psychology and then different therapies and stuff is based on universal knowledge and hermetics. They may not call it hermetics or alchemy or anything, but just going and talking to a therapist, that's alchemy. They get you to tap into your astral body. You'll literally bring that energy up to the surface, right? Because we hold stuff in. We hold all types of beliefs and traumas and experiences in, and we don't want to bring them up. It's within our body, within our field, within our feeling, and you're talking to a therapist and they get you to literally bring it up and you feel, kind of uneasy, you start crying it out and demagnetizing it, and they get you to your own realization where you can turn it into a mental construct instead of an emotional attachment. And you've alchemized it. You've raised the frequency of that energy. That's a form of alchemy, and it's many different ways that you can do it. The way I teach is through literal magic. And it's fun. You can do affirmations, you can do all types of things. I find journaling to be helpful for them. That's a very powerful way. One of my favorite ways that I talk about in my course is the black and white mirror of the soul. Now, everybody can do this. Everybody that's in here, you can do this if you combine it with some of the energy exercises and some of the other practices. It's 100 times more powerful. But the act of journaling, if you want to understand the metaphysics of journaling, if you physically write something down, right, whatever you write down, you are essentially crystallizing into this physical realm as a placeholder for your thoughts, your intentions, and your energy. Think about how powerful that is. You're telling your subconscious mind, you're telling your spirit, this is important to me, and it acts as a placeholder. So when we do the practice of the black and white mirror of your soul, one thing to do is you get your magic journal, and the more sacred that you hold your journal, the more powerful it will be because a part of you that surrenders to the process. In your magic journal, you're going to take a paper or two, slice it down the middle. Slice it, put a line down the middle, and on one side you have the white mirror of the soul. Now, the white mirror of the soul, what I want you to do is write out all your positive qualities, all your successes, all the things that you have going on for yourself. And it's very important that you're able to find these things and to recognize them. Because a lot of things that are really, really positive in your life and a lot of your highest attributes you may not be looking at. It's like there, you kind of know about it, but if you don't shine a light on it, and focus on it, then you may not be fully taking advantage of it. We have all types of successes and all types of things working in our favor, but oftentimes we often look at the negative things. Very, very powerful. I mean, it's super duper powerful just by writing down, and you can put a long list, I have this going on for me. I'm attentive, I'm analytical, I'm compassionate, I got friends, I'm good at business, I'm good at saving, I got all these different things, right? Super duper, powerful for you to be able to do that. Now, the most important aspect is to write down your negative stuff, you know, and it's not to look at yourself as a negative person or to, feel shame or regret about anything. It's to have a realistic view of who you are. It's a black and white mirror. We are both dark and light. In order to exist, you have to be oscillating between two poles. If you're not vibrating between feminine and masculine, light and dark, positive, negative, then you don't exist. Everything just is. Everything that exists that has a form is both dark and light. Um, so you have to acknowledge this. And if aren't looking at your shadow stuff, then it rules you. And it's very important that you're able to view it. So on the black mirror, you write down all your negative qualities, all of your fears, all your karmic stuff, anything that you have to think about before you make decisions. That's karmic. Write it down. One of the easiest ways to uncover some of these things, because our subconscious shadows are the most important, because they create so much negative karma in our experience, and we're unaware of it. And you can ask the people closest to you, ask your friends. If you have a partner you've been around for a while, ask them, ask your parents. They know you much more than you know yourself. Remember, our ego likes to shield us and make us feel like everything is right and everything we do is great and grand. And don't get mad at them. If they love you, they'll tell you. If they love you too much, they might not tell you. So it's important to acknowledge that some people have biases, but whatever it is, just write it down. Even if you don't think it's true, write it down, because you're going to be like, "What? I'm not like that," and just write it down. You know, and it's important that you're able to do that. Right now, the magic in this is that just by writing it down and addressing it, you're telling your subconscious mind. Remember, whenever you write something, whenever you spell something, you're putting a spell, right? You're crystallizing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your intentions in the physical realm as a placeholder to manifest through your subconscious mind. And when you write it down, that's exactly what happens. Your subconscious, your spirit, will begin to give you pathways to understand and to correct the things that's on your black mirror subconsciously. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. If you, once again, are engaging in the other practices, all the energy practices, some of the meditations and stuff, and you're developing stillness in the relationship to Akasha, then you have a really good grounding in being able to tap into your intuition and to allow your intuition to begin to guide you on a much deeper level. Very, very, very powerful. Um, so, give that a try. It's the black and white mirror of the soul, and it's super powerful. There's tons of other things that you can do too, to amplify this. So I have to look at it every day, and being grateful in hard times is the biggest flex. Yeah, listen, you'll never be put up against anything that you cannot handle. You've made it through everything that you thought you wouldn't make it through. Everybody, all of y'all. So you can move through it with ease and grace. Yeah, and or you can feel like the world is crashing down and be a victim. It's up to you. When things come up, it's either you're gonna make a way or make an excuse. And you'll never be put up against anything that you cannot handle, and that's a universal law. It's part of reality. um, but it's beautiful too. But the more you seek to align yourself and to evolve yourself and to liberate yourself of the things in your experience, some of those negative things that you guys are so caught up on and saying this is horrible and my life is falling apart or whatever, you prayed that you want peace in your life, but you holding on to something that's taking peace away from you. And as the universe, God, your ancestors, your intuition and everything is taking it away from you, you're trying to hold on to it. You so sad that it's gone. I remember, listen, I was with my twin flame, and we did our sunrise meditation, and I didn't even ask her what she tuned into or whatever. She tuned into peace, and that was the last time I seen her. That day was crazy. And not everybody and everything is meant to be in your life forever. Being able to embrace change and to know that everything is happening in your favor. But if you believe that everything is working against you, that's just a belief. And then you're going to do things out of anxiety, out of fear, right? And you're going to create your own negative karma because everything is happening for you. And the more that you seek to understand yourself and follow your intuition, then everything will begin to align. Remember, your intuition is, how do you learn from within and above? It is your divine guidance. And the more you follow that, the more you begin to see how that divine part of you is always guiding you. So if you're, not rolling with it, if you're in resistance to your experience, um, then once again, you're fighting an uphill battle. But if you, roll with it and know that it's happening for your favor, oh, cool, you'll be in a much greater space very, very soon. People get in relationships that they know don't serve them. Know you should break up with them, right? But you're still in it because, oh, I love them, right? And everything in you is saying you don't even need to leave, and you can stay in it, for as long as you want to, but fate is fate. And you'll get to a point in which you have to leave. Something real crazy gonna happen, and you have to make that change and continue along your path. The more that you follow your intuition, the less the universe has to slap you upside your head in order to get you to where you need to be. And you can move up to the higher realms much easier. Everything grows and evolves. Everything in all creation grows and evolves. And the more that you're in alignment with your spirit, the easier it is and the faster you can grow and evolve. If you feel like you're not growing, you're not evolving, it just means that you're evolving at the same rate as your environment, but you're still evolving. You can't help but to do that. From the photons that are what you are, from the atoms to the bacteria on your skin, everything, everything is evolving and you're not separate from it. So it's important to recognize that and look at that, you know. But follow your intuition always. If you want to go really deep into that and train your intuition to a supernatural level, this is what I do. This is what I teach for a living. And it's really, really beautiful. You can check out the link in my bio. Right now, it's like 65% off for the year long subscription. We have an app. There's tons of different video libraries. There's hundreds of videos. Level one is mastering the elements. How do you master and then develop equanimity to your relationship to the astral elements, air, fire, water, earth, and akasha? And we want to do that to develop equanimity so we can create the inner environment in which equanimity is possible, and then you can do all the higher more magical things. You can develop your psychic abilities, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, clairsentience, high levels of mental transference, your ability to tune into expanded states of consciousness and put your mind in any space or form. 20K exercise? Yeah, we'll do it. I saw that. I was waiting for somebody to say something about it. We'll do the energy exercise. And this is good. For everybody that's in here, I'll give you a preview of a large part of what I teach. It's a really big part of it. Really, really big part. And it's life changing. Even this exercise alone. If you follow along, I promise you it'll change your life. If you've never tapped into your vital energy, life force, and then going through this type of psychology before, it's very, very powerful. It's truly life changing. You wake up your spirit senses and your intuition, and we'll even go through the four bases of supernatural power as we do this, and it's a literal thing. So I'll break that down for you as well. For everybody that's in here, feel free to tap the screen some more. We're at 222. See how many more people we can get in here before we start the practice too. And it's called the Building the Ball Qigong practice. And once again, we'll break down the four bases of supernatural power as we do this practice as well. Um, And look at some of these other comments and stuff. I haven't been ignoring y'all. I've just been talking. um, so give yourself permission to write down things you never say or do, but still feel deeply. So how am I supposed to deal that I feel I'm getting blessed with better opportunities than some others? I mean, everybody on their own level. Like, listen, I know I'm truly blessed. I get opportunities left and right to travel, to do all types of stuff, and that's okay. But everybody's going through their lessons. Everybody's at a different part of the game. And that's okay. One of the things is not to attach yourself to other people's negative stuff. Now what you can do is be the best you can be, and when somebody is in a lower state, you can lend them a hand, or help raise them up to your level. But pitying people and putting yourself down on their level and making yourself small, you know um, for the benefit of others, that does not work that way. You're just limiting yourself and even your ability to help other people and to lift other people up. So take advantage of every opportunity that you have. And the best thing you could possibly do for anybody is to be the best you could possibly be. And this is one of the ways that you do it. And it's very, very beautiful, you know. So yeah, so we're gonna start this. Before we start this, like I said, if this is your first time with me, like let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Once again, my name is RJ. I teach Hermetic alchemy, Hermetic magic, qigong, psychic development. Very, very powerful, very beautiful. We're going to do this energy practice, and it's very, very powerful. It says Seattle. What's up, Seattle? My brother lives in Seattle. I've never been there, but beautiful. First time Nashville. Shout out Nashville, Tennessee in the house. I love Tennessee. I haven't been in Tennessee in a while. I've been down at Gatlinburg, the Smoky Mountains. Looking at some of these other comments. I want to answer a couple of these before we do this thing, so don't get mad at me. Raleigh, Western Washington as well. That's what's up. Dallas in the house. That's definitely what's up. I'm originally from Indiana, South Bend. I'm currently living in Los Angeles County. I spent most of this year in Sri Lanka. Um, Love it there. LA's pretty cool too. Missoula, that's what's up. um, I also do workshops and retreats and stuff all over the place. So we have one in Sri Lanka that's coming up, and this is during Vesak, which is a cosmic synchronicity. And this is a great way to lead into what we're doing. So Vesak, during this cosmic synchronicity, and it's 111, it's 1:11 a.m. So that makes perfect sense. All right, so this trip that we're doing in Sri Lanka is like absolutely amazing. Like I said, I spent the majority of this year thus far in Sri Lanka, and I've traveled across the entire country several times. I've seen more of Sri Lankan than like every Sri Lankan I've ever met, and I know people in the government, as well as entrepreneurs and business owners and people with penthouses there and all types of stuff. But really blessed to be able to go through that adventure. It's a very powerful, sacred place. A lot of the things that you interact with, a lot of things that you say, a lot of the lore and spiritual things, and just even everyday things that you interact with came from Sri Lanka. Even the word serendipity is literally means Sri Lanka. The Muslim name for Sri Lanka is Serendip. So serendipity, literally, it means Sri Lanka. It's a very, very magical, beautiful place. It's very, very powerful. There's ancient temples and stuff there that's like thousands of years old. Like 2,500, 3,000, 5,000 year old temples and stuff. So super duper powerful. Um, we're going there the end of April into May, which is Vesak, which is it's the full moon of the fourth lunar month, and it's a cosmic synchronicity. So during this time, and this is for everybody, no matter where you're at, during this time, whatever you do, whatever you focus on, wherever you put your energy, all that karma and merit that you generate multiplies many times over. Very, very powerful. This full moon was the full moon in which Shakyamuni Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, historical Buddha, is the same full moon in which he was born on. It's the same full moon in which he attained enlightenment, and it's the same full moon in which he passed. So it's a very, very powerful time. Very, very powerful. When I do these trips, I usually take a bunch of my students there. And not only is this cosmic synchronicity of Vesak or Sagadawa, we get a big group of actual mystics together and we're doing our practices in powerful places at the same time. So you get this amplification upon amplification upon amplification of whatever it is you're working with. So when we get together, literally you get decades, if not lifetimes, of growth and evolution in a very, very, very short amount of time. So this trip that we have, in Sri Lanka is one of those trips, and it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. My connection to the island, to the people there is super deep. I've been blessed to go to places that most people will never see, that people can't legally even go to, and when we go through this trip, it's um it's half board, so you get breakfast and dinner every day. We have our own private tour bus, our own private guide and translators. We're staying at all 4-star and 5-star resorts and hotels, and it's really, really beautiful. I look forward to seeing a lot of you guys there. I posted a clip on here and on YT. I'm trying to watch my words. Too. I just posted one on the YT channel. Um, of us some clips and stuff of us kind of going through the island. And I've been through the whole island, several times. And it's really, really beautiful. If you would like to join us, the course is also included, and it's really beautiful. All you got to do is show up. We'll pick you up from the airport, and everything else is taken care of. It's absolutely beautiful. So I say that as we're going into this energy practice, is we're going to go into one of the direct teachings from Shakyamuni Buddha, which is the 4 bases of supernatural power. And when we do this energy exercise, we're going to apply those principles to actual energy. Now, remember, everything is energy. So if you begin to understand this principle, then it puts you in a place of power. All supernatural powers, including enlightenment itself, right, is dependent upon your understanding of this principle. And the more you understand it, the more you get put in a place of power. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's really, really amazing. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm going to break it down to you after I sip my tea. Alrighty. All right. So it's just so informative and chill. Oh, you guys see me in real life. And I'm the same person I am in real life. And it's really, really cool too, because like I said, I do in-person stuff all the time. I do all types of workshops and retreats and trips and stuff with a lot of people. So and I've had 1,000+ students, in my years of teaching, and everybody gets they get there and like, man, you way cooler than I thought you were. I'm like, really? I thought I was pretty chill online too. um, Anyway, all right, so we're going to get in this. All right, so couple things before we start the practice. So when we're working with life force and energy, your energy conducts through your fascia, your myofascial tissue, right? And your fascia tissue, it wraps around your muscle fibers and tendons, right? And all the energy and information in your body is conducted through the fascia web. And when you see, small people like, let's say, Bruce Lee, right, who's really, really small but super duper powerful, the reason that why they're like that is because they train their fascia. They don't train their muscles. That's just a byproduct of correctly training your body. But your fascia is much more powerful and durable than your actual muscle fibers. And this is what we're working with. So in order to be aware of your fascia, what I want you to do is just hold your hand up. And what I want you to do is to expand every single joint in your hand, right? Just slowly, just begin to open your hand up from every single joint in your fingers. Just begin to gently open up each one of them. Continue to stretch, and don't overstretch and like strain your muscles or anything. You just want to gently just keep stretching and stretching and stretching. Stretching, stretching, stretching. And It's funny because you're going to keep stretching. Yeah, just do it on one hand. You can do it on both if you want to, but you can do it with one hand. You'll probably doing it with both will probably help too. But one will suffice. All right, so keep stretching. And you'll notice that your fingers will continue to stretch. And they'll get longer and longer and longer. Just keep stretching. And what I want you to do from here is to gently just relax your muscles very, 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 very gently, very slowly. Now, when you begin to relax them, if you can feel the elasticity, right? It feels like a rubber band has been, released a little bit. Now, that feeling that you feel, that's your fascia. That's your myofascial tissue. So when we're working with our energy, that's what we're using. That elasticity, tune into that. You don't want to tense up your muscles because muscle tension stops energy from flowing. Whereas fascia tension, the more you stretch it, it's like a guitar string. If you don't stretch it enough, it's going to sound like crap. If you stretch it too much, it's going to sound like crap. If you stretch it just right, it'll sing you a beautiful song. So that's what we're working with when we're working with our fascia. And when we conduct life force, you got to tune into the elasticity. When you pull your joints open, each one of your joints, when you pull your joints open, the body goes more magnetic. Same thing if you're playing like tug of war, right? And you're pulling on the rope, you're pulling every single joint open, and your body goes more in this magnetic state. The same thing happens when you inhale. Talking about breathing, the same thing happens when you inhale. When you push your joints open, right? Like you're pushing on a car and you push all your joints open, the body goes more electric, right? Same thing when you're pushing on something. Very, very powerful, right? So we are electromagnetic beings. So once again, you pull the joints open, you go magnetic, push the joints open, you go electric, and you tune into the fascia. Now, when it comes to um, life force, right? When you breathe, you're not just taking in oxygen, right? You're taking in life force. The breath is life. You can go literally you can go years without eating. And I promise you that. You can go, a week or so without drinking. You can go minutes without breathing. And when you don't breathe, what do? You lose consciousness. What is consciousness? It's life. Breathing is life. You're breathing in life force. And we don't just breathe through our nose. When you breathe in, you're breathing in life force through your pores. So every time you breathe, that's what you're working with. Now, what we're going to do for this practice, we're going to tune in to our hands, and you're going to focus your intent as if you're breathing through your hands. Your skin acts as a second set of lungs. You're drawing in life force through your pores. We do this naturally. So what we're going to do is focus on our hands, focus on the fascia, and we're going to combine everything together. What I want you to do is feel right below your ribs. Put both your hands right below your ribs. I know you can't really see me. Put both your hands right below your ribs. And you're going to feel your diaphragm, right? And what I want you to do is very, very slowly take a deep breath in. Feel how your diaphragm expands, right? And then deep breath out. Feel how your diaphragm contracts, right? So, in the same way, when we breathe in, we're going to pull our joints open, let it follow your diaphragm. And then when we breathe out, we're going to push our joints open. And we're going to allow it to follow the breath. When we pull our joints open, we're going magnetic. Push your joints open, we're going electric. Now, from here, we're focusing the intent of breathing into our hands. We're going to focus our will, our breath, all of our attention and awareness into the space in between our hands, and we're going to build a ball of energy. It's called the building the ball practice, okay? And we're going to do this about 9 breaths. And the last, 4 or 5 breaths, maybe more, then we're going to take our energy and we're going to condense it. And then I'm going to show you what to do with it when we go into the 4 bases of supernatural power. So is everybody with me? Y'all ready? All right, so once again, take your hands, tune into your fascia. Remember, don't overly stretch your muscles. You're stretching your fascia tension. You're going to pull your joints open. When you push the joints, you're just changing the joints from pulling to pushing, pulling to pulling to pushing. My bad. And it's important that you do that because it amplifies it through the law of polarity. All right, so we're going to do this, okay? So focus on your hands, your intention. You're drawing the energy in magnetically. Pull the energy in. On the out breath, pushing the joints open. Putting all your attention, your willpower, and breath into the space in between your hands. Keeping the stretch of the fingers. Pull the joints open again. Drawing the energy in. Pushing the joints open on the out breath. Focusing the will, the breath, the mind into the space in between the hands. And continue. Remember, drawing the energy in, focusing your attention. You're drawing life force into your hands on the in breath. Condensing that life force and energy in between your hands on the out breath. As you're pushing the joints open on the out breath, pulling the joints open on the in breath. Going from a big space of drawing the energy in, small space in between the hands, condensing the life force and energy. Remember, pull the joints open gently on the in breath, pushing the joints open on the out breath, condensing all your willpower, awareness, attention into space in between your hands. And a couple more times. Focusing your intent, once again, drawing life force into the hands on the in breath, pushing the joints open and condensing that life force into the space in between the hands on the out breath. And one more time. From here, hold your hands up right where they're at. You can face them towards each other. Gently stretch the fingers, just very, very gently. You don't want to overstretch them. You get like an amplified effect of the energy even before you get to the point in which your hands are fully stretched. Just stretch it just right. And from here, we're going to condense this energy. So instead of going back and forth from electric to magnetic, on the in breath, you're going to breathe into the hands. And then little by little, we're going to condense the energy in between our hands. So we'll do this between like 5 breaths, okay? So draw the energy in, place your awareness in between your hands, condense. On the out breath, draw the energy in, condense. So moving your mind and awareness from drawing the energy into your hands, moving your mind to the space in between the hands, condense. Couple more breaths, and we're going to do this until your hands are about 1 inch apart, okay? Draw the energy in, condense, draw the energy in, condense. All right, all the way till your hands are about 1 inch or so apart. Now from here, make sure you hold the stretch of the joints. Don't move your fingers at all. Keep them right where they're at. What I want you to do is begin to make very, very small, slow circles. This is very, very slow, small circles. You don't have to go fast. You can go very, very slow. And just keep the stretch within your fingers. And what you should feel, it should feel like magnetism. It should feel like you're playing with 2 magnets. Whatever you do, keep your awareness on the feeling of the magnetism. Now, you probably feel a bunch of other sensations as well. The magnetism is primarily what you want to pay attention to. Now, the magnetism that you feel is life force, is vital energy. This is the layer of consciousness that animates all life through all of creation. And you're now playing with it. Now, do not allow this magnetism to leave your awareness. Keep it within your mind. Keep it within your awareness. Just lock onto it like a pit bull. Now, like I said, you may feel other sensations. You may feel tingling. You may feel heat. Depending on your elemental personality, the energy will feel a little different. If you're an air personality, it may feel really light and airy. If you're a fire personality, it may feel really electric. Some people say it feels like two steel plates rubbing up against each other. If you are a water personality, it may feel really, really magnetic and cool. If you're earth personality, it may feel really dense and heavy. Whatever it is, make sure you're paying more attention to the magnetism more than anything. And what I want you to do is you can allow these circles to get bigger, still keeping the magnetism within your awareness. Allow your mind to fully absorb into the life force and even identify I am life force. I am this vital energy. Allow your mind to completely relate to it and to tune into it. Vibrationally match the energy. This is life force. You can slice up and down. Once again, keeping the energy in your awareness. Holding the stretch of the hands. Not changing the stretch because you're tuned into the frequency of life force through the stretch of your joint. So keeping that stretch right where it's at. Keeping your awareness right where it's at on the magnetism. So what I want you to do from here is we're going to do an exercise. So you can take this energy and we are going to do Tiger Claw. Keep the awareness in your, keep the energy in your awareness. And we're going to um, press the energy. And we're going to work with each one of the fingers. So what I want you to do is we're going to breathe into the thumb on the in breath. And the out breath, you're going to press the tips of the thumbs towards each other, and you'll get this type of arcing of the energy. You don't want them to touch, but you want to breathe in to the thumbs on the in breath. Then just press the tips together towards each other. Breathe in again. Press the tips towards each other again. Breathe into the thumbs one more time. Press them towards each other, and you'll get this type of resistance and arcing of the energy. All right, so we're going to do the index finger. Both index fingers, breathe into the index finger. Press the tips together. Breathe in again. Press the tips towards each other. One more time. Middle finger 3 times. Breathe into the middle finger. Pull the joints open. Press the tips towards each other. Breathe in. Press the middle fingertips towards each other again. And one more time. All right, so ring fingers. And one more time. All right, do the pinky fingers. Breathe into the pinkies. Press the tips. On the out breath, breathe in on the in breath. Press the tips towards each other on the out breath. One more time. Now do all the fingers. We're going to do 3 times. Breathe into the fingers on the in breath. Pull the joints open. Press the tips together on the out breath. One more time. Just playing one more time. All right, so from here, you may feel that the energy became a lot stronger, right? Now take the hands and tune back into it. You see the energy became a heck of a lot stronger, right? So now that you can feel the life force on a much deeper level, since we used the press energy, now we're going to use the 4 bases of supernatural power. All right. Now, when we talk about the 4 bases of power, we're going to run through the elements. So first, we want to start with the air element, right? Air element is discernment, right? So when it comes to the 4 bases, what are you discerning? Right now, we're discerning life force itself. So if you can feel the magnetism, that's the first base of the 4 bases of supernatural power is the air element of discernment. We're discerning life force. Okay. Now from there, we're going to go into our water element. Now, water element is attachment. Can you feel your attachment to what you're discerning? What is your attachment to this life force? So in order to figure out our attachment to the life force, we have to exert our fire element, which is our willpower. And there's two types of fire element. So we have our internal will, in which we express through the attachment of what we're discerning. And then we have our external will, which is our body mechanics, how we, can move our will through our body mechanics, right? So in order to figure out your attachment to what you're discerning, right, to figure out your water element relative to your air using your fire, what I want you to do is just gently start to kind of press your hands towards each other, just like this. Just very, very gently. Okay? Just very, very gently to start to press your hands towards each other. And what you'll get a type of mental pressure beginning to arise in your awareness. If you feel the magnetism, right? Feel the magnetism. And when you feel that resistance, okay, that resistance that you feel, that's your attachment. That's your water element. So what I want you to do is begin to exert your internal fire element, your internal willpower. You're using your external willpower by moving your hands. Your air element is your discerning life force. Your attachment, once again, that mental pressure that you feel, that resistance that you feel, pay attention to it in your awareness and just begin to increase it. Begin to just focus your willpower, your fire element, and begin to increase that mental pressure that you feel of the life force. Increase the density of the life force just by focusing your will through the identity of what you're discerning. So the four bases of supernatural power. Once again, air element is discernment. We're discerning life force. Water element is attachment, right? What is your attachment to what you're discerning, to the life force? You find that through exerting your fire element, which is your will. So increase the density. The earth element is persistence. You may notice that if you put too much will, you lose your awareness of your discernment. If you put too much attachment, you'll lose your discernment and your will, right? Too much discernment, you lose your will and your attachment. So earth element is persistence. It's balancing out your discernment, your attachment, and your will. There has to be a balance in it in order for you to develop equanimity and to be able to control it. So this is the four bases of supernatural power. So once again, as you're tapping your hands towards each other, what I want you to do is just focus your will. Air element, we're discerning life force. You're discerning the magnetism. Water element is your attachment. We find our attachment through our fire element of exerting our will. So take what you feel, the mental pressure of what you're discerning, and just increase the density of it. Just focus your mind and literally just increase, 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 and you'll feel that the energy becomes more dense, right? Increase it, just continue to increase it. Focus your mind, increase it as much as you can. Just continue to increase it. And it literally begins to feel as if you're playing with two magnets. You can feel all the energy. Just increase, 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 increase. Okay, stop. Now feel the energy again. You feel how the energy change states. Now, this state of energy is called ward off energy in Tai Chi. So you can take this energy, right? You can take it. You can run it up your arm. Pay attention to how it interacts with your arm, how it interacts with your energy field, how it interacts with the hairs on your arm. Right? There's a exchange that's happening there. You can take the energy, you can stimulate it a little bit, you can rub it up, run it up your other arm. You can take the energy, stimulate it a little bit more. You can play with it. You can pull it. You can press it. And once again, pay really close attention to how your energy is affected by this. You take it. What I want you to do from here is fill your hands. All right, fill your hands. When we're working with life force, um, we secrete a certain type of chemical, right? That's very, very good for you. So it's like the silky type of life force that we begin to kind of secrete. And depending on your environment, it'll be a little different. If you're in a place that's like very dry, it may feel kind of chalky. If you're in a place with a lot more moisture, it'll feel really, really silky. So what I want you to do is take your hands and rub that life force into your arms, into your head, into your skin. It increases your vitality. Um, and super duper powerful. Super duper powerful. So a couple things happen when we're doing this practice. Um, one, the moment you're able to put your awareness outside of your body and identify with the life force, well, you've just exited the system. You literally have transcended your physical body and you gain the ability to develop your intuition to a much higher level and your spirit senses to begin to wake up. And super duper powerful. Most of the signals that we receive are primarily through our body chemistry, which is usually hijacked from our body chemistry, from things that we eat, from our environment, from all the radio waves and stuff that are emitted through our field of consciousness and all these other influences. But when you're able to step outside of that, you become hyper aware, and your intuition goes into overdrive. So that's what begins to happen. Number one, you can build the skill up into a very, very, very high level, into the point where you can expand your consciousness. It feels like electromagnetism. It is. We're working with the electric and magnetic fluid. When we're working with chi, when we begin to develop this to a very high level, right now we're working with vital life force or jinn. We can take this life force and we can transform it. We can transform it from a vital state to an astral state. And then you get to know your astral body. Once again, your astral body contains your belief structures, your attachments, your labeling system, your traumas, right? It is the basis for the things that manifest in your life. So the goal is to develop a very high level of awareness and control over your vital life force, right? You become more healthy, more vibrant, more aware. Your spirit senses wake up, right? And once you start working with the astral, you go through the stage of purifying your astral body. So all the things that's within your field of consciousness is not meant for you, most of which is not real. A lot of your emotional attachments and belief structures and things like that, they were given to you by your parents, by your traumas, by society, by school, by television, by all these different influences, religion, by all these different things that aren't grounded in truth whatsoever, right? And you become really, really aware of that. And, the first thing that begins to happen is you become aware of your own stuff, which you're the only person that needs to see it. Everybody else sees it, but you need to see it in order for you to understand it, right? So you go through this purification process of your astral body, and then you begin to remember who you are. Your higher aspects, and that's what we're kind of tapping into. And it's really, really beautiful. For a lot of people, a lot of their psychic abilities and stuff just kind of activate. I go really deep into teaching clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, psychometry skills, astral projection, mental wandering, mental transference, like all these different skills. And, for some people, your skills will just, happen. They'll just literally just activate the more you practice. Um, and it's very, very powerful, and from the astral, we're going to our mental body, training your spirit. You go from working with the physical body to your soul to your spirit, and you're developing mental, spiritual strength. And, this is what liberates you. This is a path to release all the stuff that's stuck to the light of your mind, and to liberate you of all these different things that's stuck to the light of your mind, that's manifesting false realities and things that we attach to that's not real whatsoever. And your life begins to take on new meaning, and you start to have a higher quality of life very, very quickly. And the more that you're dedicated to it, and the more that you seek to develop yourself and treat it with a sense of sacredness, it comes, very, very quickly. And I say that loosely. The changes begin to happen very, very quickly. Um, and especially the more that you welcome it, it's a really, really beautiful process. It's a very, very beautiful process. So, once again, if you're interested in like learning more and diving deep, it gets super deep, super duper deep. Check out the link in my bio. Right now, you can sign up for the course. It's a year-long subscription type of thing. It's like 65% off right now through the link in my bio. We have an app and many video libraries for the subscription that's on there. You get access to level one, which is mastering the elements: air, fire, water, earth, and akasha. So you can create the inner environment in which you can develop equanimity. Through equanimity and hermetics, it puts you in a state of magical equilibrium. If you've ever listened to the Kabbalists talk about the sages and everything else, that's the state in which you have to be to actually do things magically. From there, we're going into psychic development, going directly. Well, how do you train your clairvoyance? How do you train your psychometry skills? How do you expand your mind, beyond your physical body? How do you, develop all these high level skills? Why is it necessary? Because in order for you to understand the higher spiritual knowledge, remember, spiritual knowledge is the domain of the spirit. It's not the domain of the intellect. So you can't understand it by just reading books and going to lectures or anything like that. Practicers practice. They're not reading books. They're not doing anything. They practice. Most of the arhats in Buddhism, which are people who attain nirvana, most of them aren't very smart people. There's people who have written books on Buddhism and all types of spiritual things that, have written all types of stuff that's not grounded in truth whatsoever. You practice. The only way you can have a direct experience through the higher levels is through practicing. And spiritual knowledge, and to put it more in perspective, is spiritual knowledge is a product of the spirit. It's like, what does an orange taste like? You can't write that in words. You can describe it. You can't give somebody what an orange tastes like, but I can give you practices so you can experience the orange, right? So when we look at spiritual knowledge, you can only receive it from your own current level of perception. As you grow and evolve and ascend, that same knowledge means something completely different to you. This is why if you've ever read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he says every time that you read this, you're going to find something different. And you will, because you'll be at a different level, and all the information will reorganize within your consciousness, and you're going to see it from a completely different perspective. All the universal knowledge works in this way. That's what makes it universal. There's universal knowledge in the Bible, Torah, the Quran, and in all these different systems. All of it's divine. All of it's part of the one. But it doesn't make sense to anybody if they're too stuck to their own belief structures and to their lower perceptions and attachments. So everything I teach is, well, how do you expand beyond that and train your intuition and develop yourself to a very, very high degree? And it's very, very powerful. We have weekly group Zoom meetings on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And like I said, with it, you can check out the app. We have, level one, level two, with the beginner master key psychic ascension program. Not only do you get access to level one and level two, you also get the master key video library as well as a path of power. I think this is a meditation library. There's like I think two other libraries that come along with it. You also get a copy of my book, digital copy of Alchemy of a Happy Life. That's available for you. And like I said, we have the weekly group Zoom meeting, so it's well worth it. And you get year-long access to it. It's very, very powerful. And the more you're dedicated to it, the quicker and easier you'll see like really deep change in your life, and your quality of life just like elevates on a really deep level. And I'm sure there's several students in here now. There usually is. Because I've had 1,000+ students. I've been teaching for a very long time. It's a really beautiful thing. It's my path of service. I've never done anything so fulfilling whatsoever. And if if you would like to join but you can't afford it, shoot me a message. We can work something out. There's payment plans. There's all types of ways to do it. Money isn't the thing, but you have to be um, you know, you have to be dedicated to it. You have to be invested into it yourself. You know, um, if you're not invested into it, then people don't care about what they're not invested into. Um, but I'm here to help anybody who honestly wants to develop themselves. And if it resonates with you, it resonates, with you for a reason, because this is like some of the highest knowledge you could possibly learn. The greatest knowledge is knowledge of self. Know thyself, and you will come to know the universe and the gods. And this is literally what I teach. So, once again, if you're interested, check out the link in my bio. If you have any questions, you can shoot me a message on here. Other than that, any questions? Anybody want to share your experience from what we just did? Um, I'll be on here for the next couple minutes. You can check out the Discord as well. We have a whole community too. We have a very, very beautiful community of practitioners. I just started doing teaching workshops for people who want to teach hermetics or like anything that you do. One of the greatest things about developing this knowledge is, you're ascending. So you're going up the vibrational scale. And when we look at the system of hermetics that I teach, it's about being a creator in whatever realm you're in. If you're a healer, a teacher, a doctor, a therapist, a psychologist, a bricklayer, a painter, a musician, a mom, whatever it is, it literally puts you in the top 1%. Because you're raising up into higher levels, densities of light and life force. And when light comes into form, the higher you are on the vibrational scale in the spiritual hierarchy, that light touches you before it goes down the vibrational scale. It's kind of like I know everybody in here has had a really great idea. They're in an expanded state of consciousness, and this really beautiful idea came to you, and you say, "Yo, I should do this. This would be amazing. I should definitely do this," and you didn't do it. You that thought came out the ether, hit you, and you didn't do it, and 6 months later you see somebody else did it. It came to you first. You were operating on a higher frequency in an expanded state of consciousness, so you were able to draw that higher knowledge out the ether. But because you didn't manifest it through your feelings and through your actions, it went to somebody else who actually grabbed it out the ether and put it into action. Um, Doing this type of practice and ascending, not only do you get your own spiritual growth too, but whatever your path of service, whatever your thing is that you do, it puts you in a much higher space. So, you become a creator. You can bring new technologies into, this realm, you know, new systems of development. Some of the most powerful minds that we know about throughout time and space have all been hermeticists, and it's really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And I'm really blessed and grateful to be able to share this knowledge with everybody. So, check out the link in my bio if you would like to sign up. Um, this Saturday we'll do like a revision course too, and then how to go through all the different videos and practice how to practice correctly, and it's super duper powerful. So even in the group sessions, we're doing our practices and then meditations and theory and then everything else, and there's lots of content. Once you activate your intuitive guidance system, you follow that, and it's very, very beautiful, very beautiful. Other than that, you can also book a one-on-one or quantum healing session if you need it. But it gets really, really deep. So I would love to see you guys either in person on Zoom or in one of the courses. So check out that link. And if you have any questions, you can shoot it to me. Or if you have a lot of questions, book a one-on-one. Other than that, I hope you all have a very, 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 very blessed rest of your. It's morning, I guess, for everybody now because I'm on the West Coast and it's 1:51 a.m. um, so have a very, very beautiful morning, and then I look forward to seeing you guys later. If you haven't hit the follow button, hit the follow button to check out the content. And other than that, I'll see you guys later. Okay, peace.